Welcome to the Wired for Success podcast, your show for ambitious, mission-driven entrepreneurs who want to build million-dollar businesses without sacrificing their health, relationships, or happiness, who understand that in order to build their empire, they need a solid foundation, and that the more they are thriving, the more their business is thriving too. This show brings you the very best from science, self-development, and entrepreneurship to set you up for sustainable success. Hi, I'm Claudia Garbett, the scientist turned mindset and high-performance coach for entrepreneurs, and I help you get wired for success. Hey everyone, and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Wired for Success podcast, where we talk about all things science, self-development, and entrepreneurship that help you get to that next level of success in your life and business. Today's guest is someone operating at the intersection of neuroscience, longevity, biotechnology, and human performance. Dr. Lavinia Alberi Auber is a neuroscientist, biotech entrepreneur, and founder of Vitalize DX, where she's pioneering salivary biometrics to transform how we measure brain health, resilience, recovery, and disease prevention. After more than 2 decades researching neurodegeneration and dementia at institutions like Johns Hopkins, Heidelberg University, EPFL, and the University of Fribourg, she's now focused on a bold mission: building a future where precision diagnostics help prevent sporadic dementia before symptoms ever appear. She has published more than 60 scientific papers. She has raised millions in research funding, holds multiple patents, and she's helping bridge elite performance science with everyday preventative health. Her vision is to build a future without sporadic dementia by uniting biotechnology, performance science, and the preventative strategies into a scalable and impactful innovation. And this sounds amazing, and I can't wait to learn more. So welcome, Lavinia, and thank you so much for taking the time to be on my show today.
Thank you. Thank you, Claudia, and thank you for bearing with me. We had to postpone several times this meeting, but I'm really glad to be here and to take part to this podcast or videocast.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this because this sounds so interesting. But before we get too technical, I'd love to learn a little bit more about you as a person. Can you tell me why you became a scientist in the first place? Like, what sparked your scientific curiosity?
I think I was just always interested in the beyond. So understanding better, and I was not very focused on money. That's still so.
Like most scientists.
And so I was interested in solving problems and understanding better matter in general. And once I started pharmaceutical chemistry, and I got really passionate about science and then life sciences and neurosciences. And so that's my passion now. I really embody this mind-to-body connection in my company, but also in my life.
Sounds like you have like a broad curiosity and you're a passionate problem solver.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also like in academia, probably it was a little bit more softer, but I like a lot the speed, the dynamic of this field. It's fast-paced, yet so profound. So, yeah.
Lots of dopamine hits, for sure. Yes. Now, what has decades of studying dementia taught you about what keeps the brain healthy, but also about which risk factors are involved in breaking the brain down?
Well, as you know, or as many might know, we're listening, dementia is really a pandemic, and the reason being we just live longer. And so the likelihood to have a neurodegenerative condition later in life is very high. So, but yet we can do something. And I think that I'm absolutely convinced about preventative approaches, but those need to be done earlier. And as we know, onset of symptoms occur very late. And when I was looking at the curves, and really seeing how early the pathophysiology occurs and how late the symptom appear, I thought, well, there is a window of opportunity here where you really have the chance to reverse some of the processes and then prevent it or cure it. And yet there is no cure, right? So we need to start really so early that those processes are reversible and not irreversible. So I was absolutely convinced, and then I founded Brain Fit for Life, where I really started investigating how to promote brain health, and brain health can be promoted at each stage. It's not only in your mid age or early adulthood, but it's really at every stage. And there are many ways, and at the same time, there are also many factors that are detrimental. So kind of balancing the negative factors that influence brain inflammation, degeneration, or reduced plasticity, and increasing those which really help you improve neuroplasticity, which can be physical activity, social activity, also cognitive training. The scientists have a lot of cognitive training during lifetime, and then of course music or things that really help the brain to stay healthy, and of course just lifestyle habits like sleep, and of course if we look at taking drugs certainly doesn't help. So whatever is that makes sense for a healthy lifestyle is a good recipe for your brain.
And what are the most detrimental factors that you found?
I think it's a sequel of event. It could be infection. I mean, we saw with the COVID, which caused long COVID. It could be some type of trauma. It could be even depression. I mean, and those are. The list could be very, very long. We all are exposed also to toxin in the environment, and everyone is different, right? Everyone has some vulnerabilities which are intrinsic to our DNA and or acquired because through epigenetic mutations. But certainly we have profiles, and so we can profile ourselves and also map those vulnerabilities, and then find ways to improve those aspects and change trajectories, because the objective here is to change trajectory and to transform a sick care into a healthcare trajectory.
I mean, awareness is always the first step, and then taking the next step to actually change the trajectory is so important.
Yeah. And when I was starting Brain Fit for Life, this was exactly the objective, to really spread knowledge. And after we did it like in a more top-down or kind of horizontal, but still top, I met Hassan. He's launched the 5 Ironman Beat Alzheimer, and there we really do the campaign bottom up. And I'm part of this organization. I'm very happy to be of help of this advocacy campaign, because there is so much of a gap, and people are afraid, and there is stigma about the disease, and yet we need to act now.
Yeah, for sure. Now, you study neurodegeneration, but putting the mechanics or mechanistics aside for a moment, this is also about the erosion of memory and identity, if you want, right? So philosophically, what do you think makes us us?
I have to say, I mean, a demented person is as himself as he was before. There is no difference. And of course, memory build, this repertoire. And but this person is a person. It's just a different person, right? And those individuals, they can be young or less young or very old. They are still human beings, and they need to be taken as they are. And sometimes there are some evidence that music, physical activity can really help them kind of, not want to say regain all their capacity, but some of their capacity can be improved. So I would say it's never too late. Certainly the improvement when you're very advanced in the disease is much less, but everyone can still feel alive and feel loved, and this is I think the social contact is, of course, the most important thing, and this is why there is, I think, a little bit also confusion about, for example, hearing impairment, which is one of the risk factor. It's unclear whether hearing impairment is really causing or is just as causing isolation, and then those individuals are isolated and they cannot interact with their outside world. So causality in science is a big thing, right? So we are very careful in saying whether those are risk factor, but maybe they're not causal factors, and so they really contribute. But for sure, there are some causal factors that do success during the years, and those can be detrimental to brain health, and also to the ability of the brain to scavenge toxin and really to regain the ability, because I think this is also a very important aspect. I mean, mitochondrial respiration, the brain is very energy efficient at the same time, but it consumes a lot of energy. And it is clear that when you start having neuroinflammation, your mitochondrial activity is slowed down, and you have accumulation of toxin and more inflammation. And so it's really kind of a devil's circle that needs to be stopped and progressively, stopped and with a very targeted approach.
Yeah. Now, where do you stand on the consciousness debate? Do you think that consciousness how does it relate to the brain? Do you think it's something that the brain creates? Is it something that the brain taps into, or is it something else entirely?
I think it's made by the brain. It's just we know so little about the brain, but it disappears when basically you're brain dead. There's no more consciousness, and so it ends with you, and it's about those neural circuits that someone sometimes get a straw, and sometimes they are very aligned, and and basically it's throughout life you have consciousness. As soon as you are dead, you don't have anymore.
Well, at least you can't report on it anymore. So
at least you can't report. So there's no evidence for it. And as a scientist, I should say, if there's no evidence, then we cannot discuss it.
True. Now, I find neuroscience just endlessly fascinating. What are some of the, say, counterintuitive truths about the brain that most people are not aware of?
Well, I personally think that there is a lot about mental training, a lot about visualization. I mean, people are probably aware in certain setting, in certain industry, visualization, which is not hocus pocus, is not magic, but is really projecting yourself and having those mirror neurons towards the future. That works very well. So that is one of the tactics that a neuroscientist should always use, and in order to project. And it's not only about desire; it's really about planification and understanding that if you want to get there, you can go many ways, and if one way fails, you need a plan B, and if plan B fails, you need a plan C, and so it's a lot about visualizing and then kind of finding the best way and the most efficient way. And if it does fail and you really want to get to this goal, find all means to get there. It's a little bit like the life of an entrepreneur, basically.
Vision and strategy. That's what I'm hearing. But there's this interesting tension between modern ambition and biological reality, right? It feels like the way that most people live today is damaging the system that evolution fine-tuned over millions of years. So how can we integrate modern societies and our knowledge about neuroscience and physiology to help people live better lives? Can you come up with maybe, say, 1 to 3 easy rules that would help most people become healthier? Basically, the 3 commandments of neuroscience, if you want.
The commandment of neuroscience is physical activity, which is basically a correlate of being healthy in your brain, in your body, social activity to the extent that it's appropriate for you, and sleep.
Love it. That's easy enough to remember.
And of course, I didn't say nutrition, but that's kind of the basic in terms of survival, I would say.
True. And what's the hidden neurological cost of constantly living in this achievement mode? Because culturally, we often glorify hustle and we're in this I can sleep when I'm dead culture. But biologically, this might not make sense. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, the sleeping 8 hours per night is something very new. People were sleeping 4 hours straight and then getting up and then just wandering around, checking that everything was fine, and then maybe having babies, and then getting back to sleep for another 4 hours. So this concept of the 8 hours is very modern to society, and it's beautiful. I mean, you can get a very good rest. I'm belong to this very ancestral type of population which just doesn't sleep very well and has like the 4 hours and split night. And I just wake up and I just work, and it's very, very quiet, and I just love it. And I started researching it. It's absolutely normal. So yet you need to wake up and be rested. I mean, I think that there is a minimum amount which might be different for everyone. And there are certain studies that indicate that there is a very, very small portion of the population that just needs very little sleep. And it's about basically adenosine receptor and just the metabolism of adenosine, which is faster. And I don't belong to this. I don't have throughout 8 hours sleep if I'm not extremely relaxed. So there are different patterns. I think it's the most important to have a good sleep, to really have this rest that helps you cleanse your brain, maybe your body, as a consequence. But it's different for everyone, and probably 6 hours to 8 hours or 7 to 9 works a little bit for the whole population, but in different patterns.
Yeah, I agree. I also read about this biphasic sleep that you mentioned, that this used to be the norm. Apparently, people had 2 sleeps, and this is what's mentioned in ancient texts, for example.
Yeah. That's normal. That was the norm, and and some people have it. I started having when I was going to school, and I was just getting up and just doing some work. I was kind of, I mean, at the time I was not a neuroscientist. I was just going to high school. I was kind of crazy and a little bit scary at the same time. But then I just learn to live with it.
Yeah.
And now there are more people like me that do experience this arousal during the night, and
makes me feel less stressed about those sleep patterns, because if everyone's telling you you have to have your 8 hours of uninterrupted sleep, and you feel like, oh, I'm failing at this.
Yeah, and especially with age, I think that sleep patterns change. You can certainly use breathing, meditation, and some other tactics to improve sleep. Some people also take lithium ortonate, and I take gabapentin sometimes. I mean, I'm not saying you need to take drugs, but sometimes it helps just to peace out your your nervous system. It's so important to really rest at night, and it's still unclear how sleep is really clearing all this toxin, but it truly does.
Yeah. Now, you have worked inside elite academic institutions and also high-stakes biotech ventures. Which environment do you think is more psychologically demanding? Is it academia? Is it entrepreneurship? Are they both equal? What are your thoughts?
No, it's certainly entrepreneurship. It's psychological, very, very demanding. And there's so many phases of entrepreneurship. And there are also many phases of academia that are difficult, that may be difficult. It's a very closed environment, and sometimes frustrating. And there are some ladders that you should climb or not. And there is a pedigree. And the same patterns are true for entrepreneurship, but what matters is really the product. Is there a demand for your product or not? If there is no demand, you can be the best entrepreneur and you simply fail. So, yeah. So it's basically the client that will ultimately tell whether you are on the right path or not.
Yeah, I mean, product market fit is for sure super, super important. But I also always say that entrepreneurship is probably the biggest self-development journey that you can be on, because it's just so demanding.
And you just need to, as I say always, you need to be the bus driver, bus mechanic, bus cleaner. I mean, you have multifunction and nothing should scare you. You're just going, beyond every day. And to build this resilience, it takes time. And I'm a senior person, so for me, it's a little bit easier because I have a good foundations. But not every day is the same. I have also ups and downs, and I invested a lot of my money. I'm still looking for money. I mean, outside Series A, an industrial investor, I'm choosing it very, very carefully. And so I rather, start having clients or your best investors rather than having an undesired investor.
True. Now, what surprised you most about yourself when you transitioned from scientist to founder?
About our capabilities. It's, infinite capabilities, basically, that you only can imagine. And probably what surprised me the most is that I still have no salary.
Oh, damn it!
And that's something that it's a little bit a caveat of being an entrepreneur. You earn the least in the whole company, and yet it's not about compensation. It's really about getting to your target and pursuing the pursuit really of this goal and seeing something from scratch being brought to market, a technological product that then has to be explained, and it needs to work. So it's a very short time frame, but with a lot of engagement. It's not only about the technological development, securing your technological development. It's about knowing very well the regulatory, knowing very well about the business. It's really delving in many areas and becoming an expert and doing things 10 times faster.
You have to wear all the hats in the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you're pioneering Salivary biometrics. So for people who are not familiar, can you explain what this is and what you do?
So saliva is a really incredible biofluid. It's a filtered biofluid from blood. So it has many of the proteins and metabolites which are present in blood. It's very poor in cells. So you don't have the richness of cells that you have in blood, but you have many of those analytes that are present in blood. It does differ. Certainly, it's not a complete surrogate. But there are many analytes which are also present in the cerebrospinal fluid. It's unclear how they land there. And so I got interested in saliva because I had this project exactly 10 years ago where I posited that I wanted to identify targets in saliva that would help people to detect whether they were at risk of developing dementia down the line, but literally 20 years down the line. And so I started looking at this, and then, of course, it was looking at the host pathogen interaction and the proteome, and I got more and more interested. And now we see that there is a use case. So for athletes, they need something that is very fast and can be done on the spot, and certainly saliva offers this. We have developed a 1-minute test that is captured on the phone, and you basically just fill in 8 questions and you get a risk profile for overtrain. So we start there. Of course, this is just the beginning, and the product is on the market. We have 2 pipeline, precision performance and precision fitness. And this is just the beginning because we are developing other products which are more into the longevity space, and which we do typically with the university. We cannot develop everything in-house. We cannot integrate everything vertically. So we do a lot of open innovation with the university, which do the development for us, basically, and then we share the IP. And we direct the project. So we raised up to now about 5 million in open innovation project, just because I was used to write grants all the time, and so I have the benefit of being a senior. So in terms of the development, this is the first. So we are very satisfied about the product. We have great feedback. It's really does work across the board. For any sports, and what we get in terms of evidence from the data, it's 40% to 50% improvement of performance in athletes, and just based on balancing your internal load.
This sounds so fascinating. Now, what are some of those biomarkers that are most powerful in predicting neurodegenerative diseases?
Yeah, so we have actually identified 6 biomarkers, and I cannot really say which are those, but they capture inflammation, they capture vascular changes, they capture also synaptic changes and also axonal changes. We have a profile of 6 biomarkers that are found in saliva, and that in a great manner can basically identify the window in which you are and indicate whether you are on a good trajectory or not. We are developing, this is a grant that we just submitted, but we will continue on this. It's actually a TSTA2 that we are developing to have continuous monitoring. So that's something that is going to be just a small nanosensor in your mouth, and you will be able basically to replace it from time to time, but it's going to be like the next oral whoop.
Whoa! So it's like continuous saliva sensors, just continuous glucose monitors.
Yeah, exactly.
That's so cool. So people will be able to track their metrics using an app and this sensor in real time.
Yeah.
How far away are we from this scenario?
Not very far.
Years? Just a couple of years?
Yeah, I think a couple of 5 years mostly. Yeah.
Wow, that's so cool.
We are very, very close to getting wearables or portable biosensor. Yeah. The technology is there. I mean, the miniaturized device are there. There's been a lot of emphasis on interstitial fluid. I think it was really a nice try, but simply there's not a lot of information in interstitial fluid. Glucose certainly works, but I think there are other biofluids, and saliva is one of them. But for example, tears or even urine do have and hold a lot of potential.
And what's the biggest challenge in developing those sensors at the moment?
It really depends on the biofluid you're looking at. Every biofluid is different, has different physical properties, and it's a question of really having accuracy. I think this is the most important thing, to be accurate in what you're detecting. They can start to be wellness product, and then eventually, if they have medical indication, they can become medical device. So it's also important to understand to which extent they can diagnose a condition. And of course, we want to diagnose only good things and not the bad things. But we need to understand really which are those marker and how those are intersected with the psychophysical metrics as we do for the athletes, for example. Sorry, there is no light. My light went out. Sorry. Yeah.
Now, with all those tracking devices and sensors, this always kind of raises the philosophical question around self-awareness and self-optimization. So what do you think today's health culture just gets fundamentally wrong about longevity and optimization? Like, is this the direction, or like in general, what I mean by this is, can extreme self-optimization maybe go too far, because it creates this immense cognitive load to just measure and track everything? And I mean, I think it makes biological sense that we are not aware of a lot of things that the body does. So what are your opinions on this?
I think you can bring anything to extreme. It's like binge drinking and just appreciating a glass of wine. It's exactly the same thing. You need really to ponder what is important for you. And some people are more extreme and some people are more moderate. I think it's important to understand what is good for you. As a mid-aged individual, for me, I know it's physical activity, it's sleep, having, I would say, a social environment that is supportive, having a team which is going in the same direction as me, having bonds, and that we consolidate every day. And but I think there is probably the risk that there's going to be a little bit too much information for those individuals who really are looking a little bit for orientation. But in general, I think that all those devices will be used to better our health. And we already see a lot of entrepreneurs which are restraining from drinking or from overworking, or from just respecting really more their healthy balance, that have made certain decisions, and I do respect this, and I know myself. I was also probably drinking a little bit too much, and now I reduce this drastically, and I see a great benefit, which is compounded with the physical activity, is certainly giving me more of a clear mind and allowing me to work as I do almost every day, basically, of the week.
Yeah, that's the ideal scenario, of course. Now, which metrics do you personally track?
I track my own metrics with the test. So I certainly track overload if I have a higher load, because I do train every day 1 hour at least. So I have I train for triathlon, and so I know that sometimes I do train too hard, and I need to also see whether I recover. Recovery is everything. Also, when you're physically training. So I do test the 4 biomarkers that are pertaining to the test, which are pH, uric acid, ketones, and also nitrates. But I track sleep. I kind of know when I slept well. I feel when I'm stressed, I can go back and I see that there is something wrong. It's also interesting. There are two other biomarkers that are more relative to impingent inflammation or stages of the infection, which are breathing rate and heart rate variability. And of course, once you're sick, then you look back. So it already happened. You cannot do anything about it. But you said, aha, I should have been warned. So of course, the so what thing is not really retrospective data. Always makes more sense.
Yeah. True. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. I'm still curious. What does your diet and your exercise routine look like? Because I love to train. I'm in nutrition physiology as well, so I'm always curious about those things.
Yeah. So I like to train in the morning just to get done with it. I train about 1 hour every morning. So it's either swimming, running, cycling. It's really like the free discipline of triathlon. But I like to do it in the morning. I just don't eat anything. I just run out or go out and do it. Maybe some sugar just to keep me going. But for me, it's really essential to have this done, the physical activity in the morning. I'm just too drowned in the evening to be able to do it. And so with this, I basically then have just breakfast, and I try to have meals which are high in protein, low in carbs. I do eat some candies. I just during work I do eat some candies, but it's more to fuel my brain with sugar. But I don't have a sweet tooth, and I don't even know how to bake a cake. I mean, this is not my field of expertise. And yeah, I have more of a protein based diet, but just because I was also raised here in Trieste in the Northeast, very close to the Slovenian border. We ate a lot of meat and a lot of potatoes, sauerkraut, and all this type of very German food, German staple food.
Yeah, it's interesting though that a triathlon is pretty much all cardio, so no strength at all.
No, I do strength 25%. Yeah, I do strength and balance. Yeah, I do, and that helps certainly, and also building resilience. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all important, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All.
Yeah, I think resistance training, especially when you're getting older, it really helps keeping the muscle mass. Yeah, there is I do about 25%, and that's fine with me for my type of training that I have to endure.
Yeah. Yeah, you work with all those biomarkers and data and diagnostics, but still at the core, as humans, are emotional creatures. So how much of brain health is actually relational? So I guess what I'm getting at is, how do things like loneliness or purpose or fulfillment or emotional stress really shape dementia risk or brain health?
Well, certainly there is evidence that depression is a risk factor for Alzheimer's. It's just basically it's a deconvolution of those neural networks that just fail to be activated. And of course, there is also an emotional side. So there is also some alteration in the dopamine and serotonin circuitry. So per se, it's still unclear, and I think that especially for women where those neurochemical pathways are also governed by hormones, because we do transition from a fertile status to the unfertile status. Those episodes of depression can be also influenced by the change in hormones. So certainly the transition, the neurochemistry changes in a woman's brain, I would say, more abruptly than a man. But I knew nothing about this because as soon as I was going to perimenopause, I just started taking hormones. I just thought about I need to preserve my brain as well as possible. And here I come, and I'm an HRT since I was 43. So I cannot relate very well to this, but I know there are a lot of friends that went through a very, very difficult time. And this can be very well explained by the transition to the menopausal stages.
Mm-hmm. And so you're happy with the hormone replacement?
Therapy? Yeah, very happy. Yeah.
Okay. From a science perspective, because I think there are also risk factors, right?
But the minimal as compared, and all this paper that came out were very sensational. And actually, then there is a risk for uterine cancer, and I even know people who have taken HRT and eventually got uterine cancer very late in life. But the benefit during your, the time of adulthood and the risk factor, you just have to balance it out. And for me, it just works very well.
Makes sense. Is there anything else that you would like to share with our listeners today?
I think that, there is a lot of startups out there, and I was one. I've been in the startup environment for a very long time. And if I have an advice, I would say just ponder very well. If you want to do it, there will be many days when you think, okay, I cannot do this, but you need to have a very long-term vision. It's not easy to raise money. Finding investors, raising money is the most difficult thing. People want to give you money when you already have money. And try to be as fast as possible. Try to develop products and sell them really fast in order to test the market, test if there is feedback, improve your product, go through reiteration, and try to really leverage all your competencies and don't be afraid of failing. So that's it.
Great tips. Thank you so much for sharing. So last but not least, where can people find you online if they want to connect with you?
They can find me on LinkedIn. They can find me, they can write me an email. I'm happy if there is any question that they have specifically, as we are on this brain or mind and body longevity path. We are using it now for athletes. It works very well for athletes, but also for fitness enthusiasts, it works well. And I'm actually an entrepreneur, but also an educator. I had many students, I think 50 students. I don't know. I don't count them anymore. And I really am very keen on mentoring. So if anyone wants an advice, I'm very happy to give it as a peer to peer.
Oh, awesome. That's amazing. Thank you so much, Lavinia, for sharing your wisdom and all those tips with us today. I really enjoyed talking with you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Claudia.
So keep up the great work. Take care and talk soon. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for listening to the Wired for Success podcast. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you did, please take a sec to rate and review my show or share it with a friend. That way you can support the show and help me reach and support other entrepreneurs like yourself as well. If you would like my help to figure out how you can go from overwhelmed and overworked hustler to empowered and confident leader, check out my website at www.wiredforsuccess.solutions and book a free 20-minute strategy session with me. Can't wait to help you get wired for success. Until next time, take care. Bye.